Have you ever felt alone, even in a crowded room? Or maybe you fear being alone because it feels empty? What if I told you that learning to be alone is the key to true happiness, confidence, and inner peace? The people who master solitude become the strongest. They stop seeking approval, they attract better relationships, and most importantly, they find freedom. In this video, I'll share 5 powerful lessons that will completely change how you see being alone. And trust me, lesson number 5 will shift your entire mindset. So stay with me until the end, because this might be the one lesson you need to hear right now. Let's begin. 1. Solitude is a strength, not a weakness. Most people fear being alone because they believe it means loneliness, emptiness, or even failure. But in reality, solitude is one of the greatest sources of inner strength. The ability to enjoy your own company is not a weakness. It's a superpower that few truly master. In Buddhism, solitude is seen as a path to self-discovery and enlightenment. The Buddha himself spent years meditating alone in deep forests, seeking truth and inner peace. He taught that when we detach from external distractions, we connect with our deepest selves. True wisdom arises in silence, not in noise. When you learn to be comfortable in solitude, you develop mental clarity. Without constant distractions, your mind becomes sharper, allowing you to make better decisions. Stop relying on others for happiness. You no longer seek validation from people or social approval to feel good about yourself. Build unshakable confidence. When you no longer fear being alone, you become self-sufficient, independent, and emotionally strong. Most people constantly fill their lives with social interactions, entertainment, or endless distractions because they are running away from their own thoughts. But when you embrace solitude, you stop running. Instead, you start listening to yourself, to your intuition, and to the deeper truths of life. Buddhist monks often practice silent retreats for weeks or even months at a time, disconnecting from the outside world to reconnect with their inner selves. In that stillness, they find peace, clarity, and a sense of completeness that no external source can provide. So the next time you feel uneasy about being alone, remember, it is in solitude that you discover who you really are. The strongest people aren't afraid of silence, they embrace it. 2. The right people will come when you stop chasing. In a world where people constantly seek validation through likes, messages, and attention, the fear of being alone makes many desperate for connection. They chase friendships, relationships, and approval, believing that being wanted equals being worthy. But have you ever noticed that the harder you try to hold on to people, the more they slip away? That's because desperation repels, but confidence attracts. The more you cling, the more you push others away. But when you are at peace with yourself, when you learn to embrace solitude instead of fearing it, you naturally start attracting the right people into your life. People who respect you, value you, and truly align with your energy. In Buddhism, attachment is one of the greatest causes of suffering. The Buddha taught that the more we desperately grasp at people, love, and approval, the more pain we bring upon ourselves. Why? Because nothing in life is permanent. When we force relationships out of fear, whether friendships, romantic relationships, or even social status, we become prisoners of our own expectations. But true connections happen naturally without force. The right people come into your life when you stop seeking validation and start focusing on your own growth. Think about it. When you stop chasing friendships, you attract people who genuinely appreciate you. When you stop seeking love desperately, the right partner finds you effortlessly. When you focus on becoming your best self instead of seeking approval, respect comes naturally. The problem isn't that people don't want to stay in your life. It's that they can sense when you need them to fill an emotional void. But when you become whole on your own, relationships become a choice, not a necessity. Instead of looking for someone to complete you, you start sharing your completeness with them. And that changes everything. Buddhist monks live in solitude for months, even years, yet they form some of the deepest, most meaningful connections. Why? Because they don't chase, they attract. Through wisdom, peace, and presence, they naturally draw people toward them. Stop forcing connections. Stop chasing people who don't value you. The moment you focus on bettering yourself, building your peace and mastering your mind, the right people will start appearing in your life effortlessly. Let go of the chase. Trust the process. Everything meant for you will find its way. 3. Your happiness should never depend on others. In today's world, people are constantly searching for happiness in relationships, social media validation, and approval from others. Society teaches us that being loved, accepted, and admired equals happiness. Many believe, I'll be happy when I find the right partner. I'll finally feel good about myself when I get more followers, more recognition, or more approval. I need others to understand me, appreciate me, and support me. Only then can I be truly happy. But here's the truth. If your happiness is tied to someone else, you are handing them the power to control your emotions. What happens when those people leave? What happens when the validation stops? If your happiness depends on others, you will always feel insecure, anxious, and afraid of losing them. True happiness comes from within, not from external sources. The Buddhist perspective: attachment leads to suffering. In Buddhism, the concept of impermanence, anicca, teaches that everything in life is temporary. Relationships change, people come and go, and circumstances shift. If we base our happiness on things that are constantly changing, we will always be at the mercy of the outside world. The Buddha himself was born into wealth, privilege, and luxury. He had everything people believe brings happiness, yet he still felt unfulfilled. That's why he left his palace to seek true and lasting happiness, one that didn't rely on money, relationships, or status. Through deep meditation and self-discovery, he realized that peace and contentment must come from within. Buddhism teaches that attachment is one of the greatest causes of suffering. When we cling to people, we become afraid of losing them. We become needy, dependent, and emotionally unstable. Instead of enjoying the present moment, we live in fear of abandonment, rejection, or disapproval. But the moment you let go of this attachment, you become free. How to build happiness from within. If you want to stop relying on others for happiness, you need to build a strong foundation within yourself. Here's how. 1. Stop seeking validation from others. Many people live their entire lives trying to please others, adjusting their behavior, hiding their true selves, and seeking approval. But the more you depend on others to make you feel worthy, the more powerless you become. Learn to validate yourself. You don't need someone else's approval to know your worth. Instead of waiting for others to compliment you, appreciate yourself. Instead of seeking love, focus on loving yourself first. Instead of trying to fit in, embrace who you truly are. 2. Find joy in solitude. If you can't be happy alone, you'll always be looking for distractions to fill the void. Many people rush into relationships not because they're in love, but because they're afraid of being alone. But when you embrace solitude, you realize you are already complete. You don't need someone else to fix or complete you. Spend time alone and get to know yourself. Enjoy activities by yourself. Reading, walking, meditating, or traveling. Discover your own thoughts, dreams, and passions without outside influence. 3. Practice mindfulness and gratitude. Happiness isn't found in the next achievement, the next relationship, or the next social media milestone. It's found in the present moment. If you always chase happiness in the future, you'll never find it. Mindfulness teaches you to appreciate life as it is right now. Meditate daily to calm your mind and gain clarity. Start a gratitude journal. Write down 3 things you're grateful for every day. Shift your focus from what you lack to what you already have. 4. Detach from expectations. People will disappoint you. That's life. The sooner you stop expecting others to make you happy, the more at peace you will be. Instead of relying on someone else to bring you joy, become the source of your own happiness. Expectations lead to disappointment. Acceptance leads to peace. Let go of the need to control others. Focus only on your own mindset. Stop waiting for others to make you feel special. Treat yourself with kindness and respect. The secret of Buddhist monks: why they are truly happy. Have you ever noticed that Buddhist monks who own nothing and live in complete simplicity radiate peace and happiness? They don't have luxury, social status, or romantic relationships, yet they are some of the most content people on earth. Why? Because their happiness doesn't depend on external things. They don't seek happiness from others. They cultivate it from within. They don't attach themselves to relationships. They appreciate them without fear of loss. They don't chase after temporary pleasures. They find joy in the present moment. Monks practice self-sufficiency, meaning their peace is not affected by who stays or who leaves. They know that people and circumstances come and go, but inner peace remains if you build it yourself. The freedom of self-sufficiency. The moment you stop relying on others for happiness, you become truly free. You no longer live in fear of rejection. You stop trying to impress people. You don't feel the need to constantly seek attention or approval. You realize that you are enough, just as you are. This doesn't mean you shouldn't value relationships. Love, friendships, and connections are beautiful, but they should add to your happiness, not be the source of it. The healthiest relationships happen when two people are already happy on their own. So let go of the idea that someone else will bring you happiness. Find joy within yourself, because when you do, nothing and no one can ever take it away from you. 4. Let go of the fear of being alone. It's the key to your freedom. In a world that fears silence, learn to find strength in solitude. We live in a society that glorifies constant interaction. From the moment we wake up, we're bombarded with notifications, messages, and endless distractions. We scroll through social media, seeing people surrounded by friends, in relationships, at parties, and we start to believe that being alone is a problem, something to be fixed. But here's a truth that most people never realize. Being alone is not a curse, it's a powerful gift. The fear of being alone is what traps people in unhappy relationships, toxic friendships, and in meaningless interactions. They'd rather hold on to something unhealthy than face themselves in solitude. But what if I told you that the moment you stop fearing loneliness, you unlock a level of peace and power that most will never experience? Buddhist teachings. Why solitude is the path to peace. In Buddhism, solitude is not seen as isolation. It is seen as a sacred opportunity for self-discovery. The Buddha himself left behind the distractions of the world and spent years in deep meditation, seeking wisdom in solitude. He realized that true clarity and peace come from within, not from external validation. Many Buddhist monks intentionally choose solitude to cultivate self-awareness, emotional resilience, and spiritual growth. They spend hours in silent meditation, away from the noise of the world, because they know that when you remove distractions, you can finally hear the truth within. When you embrace solitude, you begin to understand yourself on a deeper level. You stop relying on others to define your happiness. You stop needing constant approval to feel worthy. You become whole within yourself, and that is the foundation of unshakable inner peace. Why do people fear being alone? The fear of being alone is not about solitude itself. It's about what solitude forces you to confront. Most people fear being alone because they are afraid of facing their own mind. They don't want to sit in silence with their thoughts. They don't want to reflect on their weaknesses or insecurities. They don't want to acknowledge the pain they've buried under distractions. So they keep running, from one relationship to the next, from one social event to another, from one meaningless conversation to another, just to avoid the discomfort of solitude. But avoiding solitude only prolongs suffering. The more you run from yourself, the more disconnected you feel. Think about it. How many people do you know who stay in unhappy relationships just because they're afraid of being alone? How many friendships continue simply out of convenience, not genuine connection? How often do people surround themselves with noise just to avoid silence? The truth is, real happiness is not found in the presence of others. It is found in the presence of yourself. And once you become comfortable with your own company, your entire life will change. The power of being alone. Why solitude is a superpower. When you learn to enjoy your own company, everything changes. You stop fearing solitude because you realize that being alone is not a punishment. It's an opportunity for growth. Here's why solitude is your greatest superpower. You gain absolute clarity. Without outside noise, you begin to understand what you truly want, what truly matters, and who you really are. You become emotionally stronger. When you're not dependent on others for emotional security, you develop inner strength and resilience. You stop seeking approval. You no longer feel the need to impress or please others. You live on your terms. You attract better people. When you're comfortable alone, you don't chase connections out of neediness. Instead, you attract relationships that are built on genuine respect and alignment. You discover true happiness. When your happiness comes from within, it can't be taken away by external circumstances. You become free. How to overcome the fear of being alone and find freedom. If you struggle with being alone, it's because you've never been taught how to embrace solitude in a healthy way. Here's how to shift your mindset and make solitude your greatest strength. 1. Spend time alone without distractions. Put down your phone. Turn off the TV. Step away from social media. Just sit with yourself. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, but this is the first step toward real self-awareness. Take walks alone in nature. Journal about your thoughts and emotions. Meditate and observe your mind without judgment. 2. Stop relying on others for happiness. People will come and go, relationships will change, and friends will drift apart. That's life. If your happiness depends on others, you will always be emotionally unstable. Instead, build a foundation of happiness within yourself. Enjoy your own company. Pursue hobbies that bring you joy. Learn to find peace in your own thoughts. 3. Face your inner demons. The reason most people avoid solitude is because they don't want to deal with their own mind. But facing your fears, insecurities, and past wounds is the only way to grow. Sit with your emotions instead of running from them. Reflect on your past without fear. Understand it, learn from it, and let go. Turn pain into wisdom instead of suppressing it. Why Buddhist monks choose solitude? Buddhist monks don't fear being alone. They welcome it because they know that solitude leads to self-discovery. They aren't dependent on relationships for happiness because they have built unshakable inner peace. They know that true strength comes from within, not from external attachments. When you reach this level of peace, you no longer fear who stays or who leaves. You realize that your happiness is your responsibility, not someone else's. The freedom that comes with embracing solitude. Imagine waking up every day knowing that your peace, your joy, and your self-worth are completely in your control. You don't need anyone to feel happy, but you appreciate the right people when they come. You don't fear being alone because you enjoy your own company. You don't cling to toxic relationships out of fear. You walk away with confidence. This is true freedom, and it all starts when you let go of the fear of being alone. Final thought, you were never truly alone. The greatest lie we've been told is that we need others to feel complete. The truth is, you are already whole. Solitude is not something to escape, it's something to embrace. It is in your moments of solitude that you will find your greatest strength, your deepest wisdom, and your true self. Stop running from solitude. Stop fearing the silence. Embrace being alone, and you'll realize that you were never truly alone to begin with. You always had yourself, and that is more than enough. 5. Happiness comes from within, not outside. In a world that seeks happiness in all the wrong places, find it within yourself. We are conditioned to believe that happiness is something we must find, that it exists somewhere outside of us, waiting to be discovered. We chase money, relationships, status, and material things, believing that once we have more, we will finally be happy. But have you ever noticed that no matter how much you achieve, buy, or gain, the feeling of true fulfillment is always temporary? You get what you wanted, but soon you start craving something else. This is because real happiness is not something you can find. It is something you create. It does not come from wealth, success, or even other people. It comes from within. Buddhism, the illusion of external happiness. In Buddhism, one of the core teachings is that attachment leads to suffering. The moment you believe that something outside of you will bring happiness, you become a prisoner of that belief. The Buddha taught that everything in life is impermanent. Money can be lost, relationships can change, status can disappear. If your happiness depends on things that are constantly changing, then your happiness will always be fragile. But if you cultivate inner peace, no external event can take away your joy. Buddhist monks live with almost nothing. No luxuries, no romantic relationships, no material wealth. And yet they radiate a deep, unshakable happiness. Why? Because their happiness does not come from having, it comes from being. Why external happiness will always fail you. Think about all the things people chase in search of happiness. Money. You think more money will solve all your problems, but the more you have, the more you want. There is always a higher level to reach. Relationships. You think the perfect partner will complete you, but if you are not happy alone, you will never be happy in a relationship. Success and status. You think achieving your goals will make you feel fulfilled, but once you reach them, you realize the feeling doesn't last. This is the cycle of never-ending desire. You always want more, believing that the next thing will finally bring you peace. But happiness isn't something you get, it's something you become. The secret to lasting happiness. Cultivate inner peace. If you truly want to be happy, stop looking outside and start looking within. Here's how to break free from external happiness and cultivate real, lasting joy. 1. Stop chasing, start appreciating. Instead of constantly looking for what's missing, focus on what you already have. Gratitude is the foundation of inner happiness. Practice daily gratitude. Every day, reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. Appreciate the present moment. Happiness is found now, not in some future achievement. Detach from the need for more. True wealth is contentment with what you have. 2. Find joy in simplicity. Happiness is often found in the simplest moments, not in grand achievements. Learn to find joy in the ordinary. A quiet morning with a cup of tea, a deep breath of fresh air, the warmth of the sun on your skin. Monks understand this deeply. They do not seek happiness in extravagance, but in the peace of simplicity. 3. Master your mind. Your mind is the source of your happiness or your suffering. Learn to control your thoughts and you control your reality. Meditate daily. Even 5 to 10 minutes of silence can bring deep peace. Observe your thoughts. Stop reacting to every emotion and start mastering your mind. Reframe negative thoughts. Instead of saying, "I'm unhappy," ask, "What can I learn from this moment?" 4th, stop depending on others for happiness. If your happiness depends on people, you will always be vulnerable to disappointment. Be whole within yourself first. Enjoy your own company. Learn to be at peace in solitude. Stop seeking validation. Your worth does not depend on others' opinions. Give love without expecting in return. True happiness comes from giving, not taking. The freedom of internal happiness. When you realize that happiness comes from within, your entire life changes. You stop chasing things that don't fulfill you. You no longer fear losing people or material possessions. You experience deep peace that cannot be shaken by outside events. The happiest people are not the ones who have the most, but the ones who need the least. Final thought, the power is already within you. Happiness is not a destination. It is not something you will find someday. It is something you create right now. So stop searching, stop chasing. Everything you need is already within you. Happiness isn't something you find. It's something you become. When you stop chasing external things and start nurturing inner peace, you unlock a freedom that no one can take away. So ask yourself, are you searching for happiness in the outside world, or are you building it from within? If you found wisdom in this video, remember, this is just the beginning of your journey. Here on Buddhism Pathways, we guide you through the timeless teachings of Buddhism to help you find peace, purpose, and enlightenment in everyday life. So if you haven't already, subscribe and join our growing community. And if this message resonated with you, leave a comment below. What lesson stood out to you the most? Until next time, stay mindful, stay present, and remember, true happiness is already within you.